Well, there's the lineup for the first track final of the session, this final session in Portland. It's the men's 3,000 meters, 12 starters, and what a race this promises to be. Lee Emanuel here has done well to make it through to this final, 7:53 in his qualifying race, but he's got a mountain to climb if he's to be years old, Choge. Very, very consistent too. He's a great miler. He's strong at 3,000 and 5,000 too, and he has the full armory, as do so many men in this race. It's very, very hard to pick out a favourite. I rather fancy Guida myself. He's so sharp. He's always comes ready to race, does the Moroccan. Well, it'll be interesting to see if this turns into a slow tactical affair for the first few laps. Remember, it is 15 laps of the track. Looks like Ahmed, who I didn't mention there, the Canadian, he's a 740 performer this year, this winter, is happy to move to the front, although he hasn't exactly accelerated. I don't think this is going to be particularly quick through the early laps. Lee Emanuel of Britain back in 5th place with the Australian there, Brett Robinson. He's a 744 performer in that easily spottable yellow vest in 3rd place. Nice and steady at the moment.
Yeah, not too rushed, is it, the pace so far. Looking forward to the internal battle between the Kenyans and the Ethiopians, who will be there or thereabouts. Choge has been blistering so far in the winter on the newly created IAAF World Indoor Tour, in Karlsruhe particularly, and left Koech and Diko left for dead. So keep an eye out for Choge in the latter stages.
Alamiru 4th from the back there in that green vest. There he is, top left. Keljecha, I should say, just loping along with that rocking stride of his. And Igida almost having to chop his stride. He's almost jogging there towards the back. It has slowed dramatically, 71 seconds almost at 400 meters. I wonder who'll be the first to lose patience. Koech, those powerful legs of his, is a super build, isn't he? Very big fella. Moves to the front, maybe thinking this is just a little too slow. It gets dangerous when it's very slow and it gets bunched. There's a lot of barging and pushing, and you get spiked and clipped, and it's just dangerous, and that's very strength sapping.
Well, particularly, it's accentuated, isn't it, on the narrow bends. This is a 200-meter track, not the outdoor 400, and it's already much more intimate, and the risk of bumping and barging is greater, so slowing the pace only adds to that.
Well, Koech has introduced a little bit of respectability to this tempo, thank goodness. His full name, Isaiah Kiplangat Koech. He's still only 22 years old. Very, very consistent. 5th in the London Olympic Games 5,000 behind Mo Farah. 4th in the year before that in 2011, when he was, wait for it, just 17 years old, of course. A 3rd in Moscow 3 years back. 2nd in Glasgow at the Commonwealth Games behind his compatriot Ndiku. But while he's hit the front, it's still not quick, and I don't think this is sapping for him at all. He's probably thinking, well, I might as well be at the front, able to react to any attack and controlling things, as back in the pack, getting pushed and shoved and clipped, and as I said, getting my energy sapped through all that concentration that is required to stay on your feet when it's tightly bunched.
You mentioned at the top of the race, Tim, Mo Farah. He's been here most days, actually, as a spectator. Of course, he lives just down the road in Eugene. He's been here with his daughter and apparently one of his sons as well last night, cheering on. And I suspect he's here again today, and he will be obviously taking an added interest in this event itself.
Agonizingly slow, 2:52 at 1,000 meters. Well, that's outside 8:30 tempo. 2:40 would be 8-minute tempo, and these men, many of them capable of going around at 2:30 tempo, much quicker than this. But he's beginning to wind it up now in this middle kilometre. It's still not lightning fast. 1,200 metres in 3:25, still very slow for every single one of these men. They're all paying close attention to what's going on. You can see Lee Emanuel 4th from the back. When the attack does come, and I'm just trying to identify who I think it will be the first to lose patience and go hard. When the attack does come, you don't want to be too far back, because if somebody were to kick off the front now, for example, and you were in Lee Emanuel's position, you'd be in a desperately bad position to respond to it for a lap and a half.
Well, he is boxed in, isn't he? And quite vulnerable there for the reasons you give. And, just starting to wind up a little bit now. Emanuel just needs to extricate himself from that position at the back and maybe just move wide and get clear.
That said, Igida and Ndiku are right at the back as well. Ndiku right at the very back of the field with Igida. My favourite, the Moroccan, second from the rear. As Koech continues to churn round at this slow tempo. Ryan Hill has been on the shoulder of the leader throughout, well positioned. Choge on the inside in third place, then Ahmed the Canadian in fifth place. That's Chalimo of the USA. In the US Army, Chalimo. Essentially one way to get a quick US passport is spend a few weeks in the US Army and your passport's sorted. But obviously that is quite some commitment you have to make. Bunching now because Koech hasn't wound it up and they're, what, 3 or 4 across the track. It's dangerous.
It is indeed a bit of a bottleneck at the front there. Lee Emmanuel now with a little bit more space, but again, I'd just like to see him moving through the field. He's opting for the inside track there, just spotted a gap and has taken it, and here we go. There's a decisive move there from Ndiku, I think it is.
It is Ndiku, yes, and now all of a sudden it's like throwing the cat amongst the pigeons, isn't it? Keljecha moves up onto his shoulder. Ryan Hill lengthens his stride, moving down the outside there. It's Bachir of Djibouti. The Australian there caught napping a little bit. Robinson right at the back of the field at the moment, and the chase is on in earnest, and this was a very quick, sudden attack from the Djiboutian Yusuf His Bachir as they come now to 2 kilometres. 5:34, a 2:42 kilometre there. And the racing is on in earnest, and there's a panic sort of rumbles through the pack, doesn't it, as they realise that this is serious. Bachir with Ndiku on his shoulder, Chalimo, Keljecha, Igida running very wide there. They're still not really foot to the floor, but it's just a little bit more demanding than it was for the first half.
Well, it is indeed. That was an extraordinary move by Bachir, and Ndiku had it covered. I'm just looking at Alamiru, who's way back. In fact, he's in final last place. Keljecha there is well placed in third position, but having to go wide.
So Bachir gets his head down and drives into the back straight there very hard with Ndiku on his shoulder. Choge moving through into third place. The Kenyans well positioned at the moment. Keljecha running wide around the outside. Ryan Hill on the inside in fifth. Igida to his shoulder, and then Chalimo and Koech back in about 8th place at the moment. They come through with 3 laps to run. These laps are getting quicker and quicker. 6:32 there. That was a 29-second lap down the back straight, and certainly Bachir has lost his lead. In fact, he's fading back in 6th place now as Ndiku leads from Keljecha. In control, the Kenyan. Ryan Hill has got to work and stay with these 4, although that little gap's just appearing. It does wind you up. 2 laps to run, around 7 minutes there. With 2 laps to run, Lee Emmanuel struggling to go with this very early attack initiated by Bachir of Djibouti, and it's Keljecha now with that long loping stride of his, the 18-year-old Ethiopian. Choge moving down the outside onto attacking position there. Ryan Hill still there in 5th place. The home crowd will be roaring on their champion. It's Keljecha, Choge, Ndiku, Igida, the 1500-metre specialist. Watch him, he's a real danger, is Igida, as he accelerates through to the bell there.
Keljecha leading it through. What a trademark start he's got, and this is really terrific running. Such a quality field. 5 in contention for 3 medals.
Keljecha kicks again into the back straight. Little look over his shoulder. Choge running the shortest line. Igida running wide. Ryan Hill is right there. Ndiku's done back in 5th place. Keljecha digs deep again, and Choge's got to find the meters, and so is Ryan Hill in that red US vest. Keljecha's going to take it. Hill comes through to dig for the silver, and Choge takes the bronze. Igida run out of it into 4th place. Keljecha has arrived in earnest. 2:22 for the final kilometre, and that is his first major title as a senior athlete. I say as a senior athlete, he's still a junior, he's 18, but at senior level he is now a gold medalist. Brilliant determination from Ryan Hill. Maybe home advantage giving him that extra gear over those last 15 or 20 metres to just outdip the bronze medalist there, Choge. But boy, it was some last kilometre.
What a finish from Ryan Hill. Look at this, back in 5th place here as they hit the bell. Keljecha turning on the gas, and here he comes, really digging deep. Look at the face, Ryan Hill grimacing, still with work to do. Choge thinks he's got the silver, and there on the dip. Thrilling last couple of laps. What a performance from Keljecha.
Rather frightening, the performance from Keljecha, because he's won that pretty easily in a dust-up over the last 5 laps. And of course, what he did with Bachir's help, kicking from so far out, did for the 1500-metre specialist Igida.
behind Rushwal Samai.
Confirmation of that gold for Keljecha. Ethiopia winning the 3,000 meters.